I'm glad you guys have joined us today. So we started work on the twin sisters. I don't know if y'all have seen our previous video, but we'll put a link in the description. So we're working on the twin J4500s. One of the first things I needed to figure out was with the engine. We had a emissions problem where we had a stop engine, check engine light, and a couple other things. We've started working on it, and I'm going to kind of go over. We lost some audio footage of me talking about it, so I'm kind of do a voiceover. So first, we noticed that the dozer valve that for the SCR, it's what injects the DEF fluid into the SCR. There's a metal tin gasket that seals it to the SCR, and that gasket has kind of like rotted away, which was allowing DEF fluid to leak through the bottom of that valve. And you could see where it was piled up below the valve. We'll show you some footage here. And so basically we got that valve out, took it off, and then what we need to do is clean up all that DEF crystallization. So you'll see where you see the buildup at the bottom, and then I come in with a wire brush and I clean everything up really good, making sure that I don't get any debris or anything inside the SCR. That's very important. The SCRs are kind of expensive, so we want to make sure that we don't get anything in there. I've cleaned that up, and now I'm going to install the new valve. And one thing I want to show you when it comes to the new valve is, look at this. I find this funny. So this is a Detroit engine. It's a DD13 engine that we're working on, and if you look at it, it comes in a Detroit box, but when you take the valve out, it's in a Mercedes bag. And then if you turn it around and look at the back side of the valve, it shows Cummins Corporation. So brand loyalty can't be really a thing these days. As you can see, we just went through 3 engine manufacturers to Mercedes does make engines. I don't know if they make diesel engines anymore, and I know Detroit and Mercedes are one under the Daimler Corporation now. But still, I find it funny that we went through 3 different engine manufacturers to put this part on, and at the end of the day, it's a Cummins part on a Detroit engine. So they all work together. If you say they don't, you're crazy. But anyway, we've got the new valve on, we've got it installed, and now what we're doing is we're sitting in the bus, and we let the bus get up to temperature, and now we're doing a forced regen on it to make sure. The reason we are working on it is because it was throwing some NOx codes showing that the sensor wasn't reading the correct output for the NOx, and it was also showing a fault code for a DEF quality issue. So it was basically saying that it was requesting a certain amount of DEF. It wasn't getting it, or the DEF quality was poor, and therefore it wasn't bringing down the NOx as it should in short terms. There's a way more technical way to say that, but I'm going to give like a broad summary of basically what it was saying. And so that's kind of what we're at, and due to the fact that it was leaking, that is one of the reasons we were getting a poor quality of DEF. One of the other things we already did was we already drained the tank. We already flushed the tank, we already cleaned the tank, and we filled it up full of fresh, the platinum DEF, which is my favorite to use. I think it's the best DEF that you can use. I don't like any of the cheaper stuff. I like how the platinum DEF stamps the life and when it was made, because a lot of people don't realize, but DEF has a shelf life. If you open it up and leave it in a unclimate controlled facility, it has hardly any life to it whatsoever. If it is stored in a climate controlled facility and it's not opened, it can last a certain amount of time. Each manufacturer is different, so I'm not going to give you shelf lives. You kind of need to Google the manufacturer that you tend to use, if it's Platinum Blue or if it's DEF Blue, if it's O'Reilly's, Napa, whoever that you're using. You Google them, or Detroit brand, and you want to Google it and see what their recommended shelf life is. That's very important because it does break down. And another thing that's important to check is make sure that the system is sealed. Wow, the camera really shows how dirty my screen is. I need to clean that off. But anyway, right now we're got an active regen. I'm going to show you some specs. So the The DOC, which stands for diesel oxidation catalyst inlet temperature, is 819 degrees. The outlet temperature is, let me zoom in just a little bit. The outlet temperature is 993 degrees. The DPF outlet temperature is 907 degrees. So you can see that. The target temperature is 1013 degrees. So it's still trying to warm up. And here's the other thing here's another thing that we need to monitor and see, because this will tell us if the DPF is stopped up. This is one of the best ways to tell. If you look where it says DOC inlet pressure, that stands for diesel oxidation catalyst inlet pressure. If you come over, you see there's 1.2 psi. And you come over to the DPF outlet pressure, and you come over and we're at 0.5 psi. So that right there in itself, we need to monitor that, because if you've got 20 psi coming in and you got 2 psi coming out, then you've got a blockage. If they are all within, there is a range in which is acceptable. We need to check and make sure that it stays within the acceptable range. Because if it doesn't, then we either need to take the DPF out, clean it, or we need to replace it. Another issue that we need to fix for this customer on this bus is, I don't know if you noticed this, but it rained. And obviously we've got a leak somewhere that we need to address, because it's making a little swimming pool in here. So we need to get that sorted. So the next task we're going to do on this bus after we get this fixed is we also need to fix this parking brake valve. So you can't even push it in. It won't release. The valve is damaged. So we're going to take care of that too. Hey, all right, so we're back. We're working on the sister buses again. So we got all the lights off the dash. The MIL light, the check engine, and the stop engine light are all off. So we had to run a regen a couple times. But the DOC and the DPF and everything seem to be in good shape. We don't have any problems with that. So remember, exhaust comes out of the turbo, through the DOC, that's the diesel oxidation catalyst, out of the DOC into the DPF, which is diesel particulate filter, out of the DPF into the SCR, which is selective catalyst reduction, and then out the tailpipe. So all that seems to be working fine, and the culprit was that dozer valve. It was leaking so bad, it wasn't getting enough depth in there. More of it was running down the face of it. That's why it's important, pre-trip your stuff. I know a lot of people hate all this emission stuff. I do too. I hate it. Don't like any of it. Ignore the skid steer in the background. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's only half taken apart also. If you guys are interested in that, I'll show you that too. Sorry, squirrel moment. But yeah, we got the diesel oxidation. We've got the emission systems out of it. And then this is all tore apart. And you can see the cab is up in the air. The lifter arms are way up in the air. And we've got it kind of squeezed in here, but there's enough room. There's nothing's touching there. And if anyone's going to have a heart attack, the boom can't come down because I've got the pin out right there. So there's a special pin that's made in there. Let me zoom in. Zoom in. Whoop. All right. So see that pin right there? That pin is holding the boom up. So anyway, this thing's getting some work. It hadn't, surprisingly enough, it had an EGR failure. So there's a lot of bolts. A lot of bolts taking this thing apart. Relatively low hours still. So if you like equipment and you like machines and you like that kind of stuff, I do have a separate channel for that. I don't post as often as I do on the bus stuff because I'm always working on bus stuff. buses. But I do very much enjoy the equipment side of it. So if y'all also enjoy equipment, we have various things on that channel. So check that out. Anyway, back to what we were saying. I don't like the emission stuff like anybody else. I don't like my engines eating their own crap. And that's basically what an EGR does. EGR is exhaust gas recirculation, so you're taking burnt fuel and recycling it back in. My idea of that would be, like I just said, eating your own crap with your supper. It's not good for the engine. It's not good for a human to do that. It's just not good all the way around. But emissions are emissions. We can't delete them. When you're running a fleet and things like that, it's against the law. Can't do it here. Go to jail. All the above. So we have to learn to live with them, and we have to fix them here at the shop. You know, whatever you do on your farm, on your truck, is your prerogative. But as a business owner, I cannot do things like that here. So we have to fix them and fix them correctly and stuff like that. Anyway, the dozer valve, that solved the problem. Remember, if you see white crusty crystallization of death, that's a good spot to, kind of look at. A lot of times on these emission systems, you can do a visual inspection and find 60% of your problems. You can walk up to it and you can see an exhaust leak at the DPF, or you can see the crystallization, or you can hook the computer up and just look at data. Sometimes you can really pinpoint what the problem is, because when it comes to these emission systems, just firing the parts cannon off is pretty expensive. Anyway, rant over, talk over, squirrel moment over. Second problem we're working on this bus is this bus was just at another shop, and it was at another shop for the parking brake valve. They couldn't release it. It was having a problem, and they supposedly replaced it. I don't think they replaced the valve. I think they just put a new cap on it. And a couple reasons why I don't think they even took the valve off, but they charged them the valve. One, all the screw heads were so rusted in there, it literally took me 10 extra minutes of, twisting back and forth to slowly work them out. Number two is, if you crawl down here, I'll get you down here with me, and we come in here, and we look at the bottom of this plug the button that they just stuck on here. I'm gonna take my drift. Do you see right here? They cracked it. When they drove the pin in it right here to lock it in, they cracked it. So I probably can break it off. You see that? You see how it's busted? Okay, and so it needs to be able to go in that valve. And that's why it won't go in, is because this is broken. And whether it's caused damage to the valve, I don't know. I'm about to take this off and kind of look at it. And if I'm even just a little hesitant, I'm going to change it. But we got to knock this pin out. You got to be careful when you're putting these in, because you will break those little buttons. But it looks like that's all they did was stick a new button on it and called it fixed, but charged them for a valve. Let's see if we can get the valve off. You see all the screws we had to take out? All the screws. There's a bunch of them in there. So let me see if I can get the valve off, and then I'll show it to you once I get it off. So I've got to lay down on the floor and crawl under the dash. So that's no yoga needed here. When you work on buses, you don't need a yoga membership. So, and you want to exercise, you want to put yourself in weird positions, or do the yoga thing. Another alternative would be just buy a bus. Something will always be broken on it, and you'll always find new positions that you have to lay in order to work on them. You'll always stay nimble and fit. So, anyway, I'll be back once I get the valve off. All right, we got the old one off. Here it is right here. I'm going to show it to you. Let's look at it. I don't know. They say they replaced it. I don't know. I can't say one way or another. It doesn't look very new. Like you can see where someone doped it at one point, but I don't know. It looks very old compared to the new one I just got out of the box. And if you can listen, I don't know if y'all can hear this. I'm gonna put it up to the mic. But it's super crunchy feeling. it doesn't operate smooth. There's like a definite like crunchy zone in there. So I don't know if they messed it up because they broke that and they're trying to jam this thing in there, because with no air on it, it's hard to do one-handed. With no air on it, let me hold it like this. If I put the new cap on there, if I hold it one-handed, it's super crunchy going in and out, but it goes in. So I went ahead and changed it. As you can see, I'm in there, I'm working on it, and you can see the old one, see where they had busted it. Looks like like I said, it just looks like they put a new cap on there. And then, let me see if I can get it to focus. Focus. All right, so you see this? See where it's broken? Because it's broken, it wouldn't allow it to go in. So, anyway. Long story short, well, we got the new one in. You can see, well, I put a whole assembly in there. It's in. So we'll put that panel back on. We'll put all the screws back in it, and then we'll test it out and see if it works. All right, so we're gonna air her up now because we had the lines off, so the air's low. So you can see saying air pressure low. And if you look over here, we got no lights on the dash. That's great. Over here, it's telling us the door's open, and check the information because the door's open. So if we close that door, that light will go out, and that one's telling me that the parking brake is set. So once we figure out we get enough air, we'll try and release the parking brake. We do still need to fix the swimming pool. Thank you. I don't know if you know, but I like the beeping better than I do the buzzers. They're so annoying. Anyway. Alright, so there you go. That's it. That's all that it was. We replaced the valve just in case there was damage. It didn't feel good, but as simple as that. Somebody was a little too rough with this cap, or they just had a used one that they stuck on there, or I'm not quite sure. But the upsetting part is they charged the person a valve and they never put a valve in it. In my opinion, I really don't think they did. If they did, they put a used one in it or one they had laying around, because if I held the new one next to the old one, is night and day difference. And you can just look at this and tell that, look how faded the button is on it, and I don't know what they did here. I know that he paid a bunch of money to have it fixed, so I don't know. And I'm not going to mention the shop, but trust me, all day long I see this crap right here from that shop. Alright, so now we've got to work on this swimming pool and see if we can figure out where the water's coming from, because we don't want water keep dripping all over the switches and stuff, or the driver's head. I appreciate it. This is going to be a multi-part thing, because if not, to fix all the problems on these two buses would be like a 6-hour long video. My wife would kill me if we had to try and edit that long of a video, or y'all would never see it because it takes so long to edit. But anyway, appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next one.